few moments, two people will die.
I'm gonna have to kill you both.
No, Ethel.
Suspense that will shatter your nerves as Fat Ethel, with a maniac's cunning, terrorizes her numerous victims.
Do you think I'm gonna let you starve me?
Another kind of monster is loose, and death follows each time that Ethel reaches for the meat cleaver. Gluttonous Ethel, whose love of food in enormous amounts was equaled only by her immense joy in killing.
What's this blood all over the floor?
Welcome to What the Hell Did We Just Watch? I'm Toby. And what the hell is Jeff doing?
Oh, sorry. These voodoo chips are awesome.
Oh, man. All right.
Seriously, they're fucking amazing.
I thought you were having dental pain, man.
Oh yeah, it hurts. It really hurts. But these things are awesome.
Mm.
And I feel like it sets us up for this week's episode.
All right, fine.
I'm Jeff, by the way.
Oh, man. All right. And this week we watched Criminally Insane from 1975.
Yes, we did.
And we'll just, a little teaser. I'll give you the plot description. An obese woman recently released from an insane asylum kills anyone who attempts to get her to stop eating.
And that pretty much sums it up. But
thank you. Good night. Later.
Yeah, show's over. In an hour and 1 minute, so much more happens in this movie within that one plot premise.
I think it's the extra 59 seconds you left off. That just makes it.
Sorry, is it an hour and 2 minutes?
It's an hour, 1 minute, and 59 seconds.
That's the credits, which are awful.
The credits are amazing.
No, they're not. Amazing is not the word.
They look like Jeff Chitty credits.
Nope, they're worse. I mean, my credits are okay. If we describe my career from beginning to end, at the end, and I say end as if it's over because it probably is, especially after this episode, my credits got to be pretty damn good. The credits usually were better than the movie.
Yeah, 90% of the time.
In this case, not so. The credits are awful. The movie's actually better than it has any right to be.
Yes, it is. So, yeah. Well, what do you, 1975. Yeah, go ahead.
So 1975. Excuse me.
Oh, God.
I feel like this movie could not be made today, though there was a sequel or remake in 2016, correct?
Right.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, there was
I'm not sure if it was a sequel or a remake, and I've never seen it, and it's not readily available anywhere. I'm sure you can find it on DVD if you scour the internet, but it's not readily available streaming anywhere or upon a easy, quick search.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I feel like this movie could not be made nowadays, and that probably explains why neither of us have seen it.
Right.
It's not something that a major distributor would put out now.
Yeah, definitely not.
And worth mentioning, can we mention the subtitle?
All right, because the Criminally Insane 3 was called, which is the subtitle of the first one.
Right, the first was also known as Crazy Fat Ethel.
Yes.
That's what I found this movie as, so many years ago. Crazy Fat Ethel. And I was like, this movie sounds fucking nuts.
Yeah, and it is. It's ridiculously horrible. The number 3, Crazy Fat Ethel or Criminally Insane 3, is based on the cult film.
So it's a remake.
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
So we'll get into this. But real quick first. Hey, we're back. So I have to say, these opening credits are fucking awful.
Come on. Didn't like the swipe?
The blood's fine. Why'd you have to swipe it? The blood dropping? Cool. And then you swipe it, and it's just like a weird hippie avant-garde artist making a hand painting for 3 minutes.
Well, yeah. But I don't know.
Why smear it? That's what's in my notes. Why smear
Why smear? Okay. I don't have a clue because I don't do titles or credits. Fuck everybody that worked on my stuff.
I mean, granted, it's 1975. I didn't look up the budget for this movie, but I'm guessing it's really low.
Uh-oh.
I get it.
I'm on a budget search now. Sorry, folks.
I get it. But why smear it? Just like drop some blood on the page, and then there's the credits. Cool. But you smear it, it bothered me.
Yeah. Oh.
That's all I got. It bothered me.
That bothered you. That is it. Wow.
Well, yeah. What do you want from me?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. All right. So yeah, and interspersed with the credits, right, is the Ethel with the shock treatment.
Right.
And
the needle stick.
And a needle stick, which is, if you know me, that's the grossest thing ever. Don't show me a needle going into somebody's friggin' arm.
And it's fucking real.
Yeah, I would have been. Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, it's real.
I would have stopped.
I've seen special effects. We've shot no budget movies. That's not fake shit. That was real.
Yeah, it was gross. All right, it's just a needle, but I can't watch needles go into skin. Sorry.
All right, well, so then Ethel gets electric shock treatment.
Uh-huh. And yes, she does. And as she moves along, and then at the same time she's getting shock treatment, the last set of it, her grandmother is in the office talking to Dr. And I did not write his name down.
I didn't either.
Because why?
Right. Yes. Well, you feel it's unimportant. The doctor may or may not pop up again.
Dr. Gerard.
Yeah, good job.
So basically, they're like, we don't feel good about letting her out, but if you bring her back every Thursday to have a shock treatment, we'll send her home with you. And then he says to her grandmother, Mrs. Janowski, he said something about her, that weight that she carries around, it's too much for her heart. Could you get her to eat less?
Right. He says those pounds aren't good for her heart.
Her heart, yes. Something like that. Oh man.
So
all right.
So then they go home.
Well, they're walking to the car from the hospital, and Grandma is talking to her, and it's like, oh, you'll never guess who showed up last week. Rosalie came, and she didn't have a place to stay, so I let her stay for a couple nights. But every night she was bringing a different man home, and I had to kick her out. And
at which point I'm like, who the fuck is Rosalie? First of all,
it's second. Yeah, we don't know who Rosalie is, and all I'm thinking is, Rosalie is a prostitute.
Didn't get that. And we'll get more into this later because I'm sure we'll have a meaty conversation about it.
Sure.
Then they drive home.
They get home, do this, do that. Must be the next morning.
Well, the neighbor pops up.
How's Ethel feeling?
Fine. She's had a lovely rest. Help you, dear.
Just what she needed. Well, I hope she's over those terrible rages.
That's what terrible rages is on my paper. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it. She had a good rest. It's just what she needed. Because electroshock therapy is a really good rest, apparently.
Obviously. Yep, it is.
So yeah, then they're back home. They're in the house.
Yeah, and is it the next day? It must be more.
I don't know if it's the next day or that night.
Or that night. No, it's the next day because.
But I have the anti-Semitic quote.
Well, that's
from,
next. That comes
okay,
up.
it's coming up.
Because we're
Okay.
talking about Crazy Fat Ethel, and we need to describe her breakfast.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't delineate when this happened. I just
Because this is
made a new bullet point.
because this is technically, I mean, it's food porn,
Sorta, yeah.
sorta. Because she cooks a pound of friggin' bacon, close to a dozen eggs, and after that's all cooked, she stops and makes 2 pieces of toast.
It's a lot.
And you're like, and because we had researched the movie prior, I'd researched it. Jeff had seen it before. I was like, okay, that's all for her. I know this.
Right.
It's not a plot spoiler or whatever.
And I just feel like Ethel's like me at 3:00 in the morning after drinking since noon.
Well, not yet. We can get into that in a minute. So Grandma comes down to the table and goes, "I thought I smelled bacon cooking," and she doesn't even try to like grab a piece of bacon. She's gonna lose a friggin' hand if she
Right.
sticks it out there. So she knows that, and she goes, "Well, I'll just have black coffee. It's never too late for a woman to watch her figure."
Didn't write that down because I figured I would just remember it.
I didn't write it down either, but it's there now.
Yeah.
So and then Ethel
Can we
goes
back
off.
up? Can we back up for
Yeah.
one moment? What the fuck is up with the music while she's cooking? Like the weird, out of tune acoustic guitar.
I don't know. I don't even remember the music because I was just enthralled with the fact that she was going to eat all that.
The music's fucking weird. It's like a weird. It's like if I just grabbed my guitar from the basement and didn't tune it and just started playing random notes.
Yeah. Sounds like somebody gave a 3-year-old a guitar.
Right.
And they went, bing, bing, bing. Listen to my rock and roll.
Yep. All right. So, back forward.
So Grandma.
Never too late for a girl to watch her weight.
Watch her figure, yeah. And then Ethel goes off. Grandma says, "Well, Dr. Gerard said it'd help you if you lost some weight." And Ethel goes,
Did you know they tried to kill me? That goddamn Jew doctor gave them orders not to give me enough to eat. 2 lousy boiled eggs and a piece of dry toast for breakfast. They were trying to save money and starve me while they were at it.
My heart's just fine as long as my stomach's not empty.
"Hey, I got that one too." So
Important.
all right, so breakfast is done, and it really nothing happens because now all of a sudden it's Ethel's in the kitchen again. There's nothing happened. It cut to this.
Yeah, the next note I have is like that night when she's going to bed.
Yeah.
And pouring a whole tray full of like hard candy granny candies and a box of Nilla wafers.
A whole box of Nilla wafers and a half gallon of friggin' milk.
And all the hard candy she can pour out onto the TV tray.
I missed the hard candy, but anyway, yeah, she wakes up in the middle of the night. There's only a glass with a little bit of milk in it, so who knows what happened to the half gallon carton she took upstairs. And then she wakes up in the middle of the night. She's in there. She can't find any cookies left, so she goes back downstairs.
And then shit gets real.
And Grandmother has emptied out the fridge and locked all the food up in the cabinet.
When did Granny do it?
Well,
because allegedly, I'm assuming when she was cooking all the fucking bacon and everything, there was food in the fridge.
There was food in the fridge when she was getting the Nilla wafers.
Yeah.
She opened it up, it was stuffed.
And then we just cut to the middle of the night and shit's fucking empty. So I don't know when Granny emptied everything and put locks on all of the cupboards.
Well, only one cupboard. was the one cupboard that was locked where all the food. She was not going to get fresh meat or dairy until she learned how to control her appetite.
This is a movie about veganism.
Oh, ahead of its time. And yeah, so, but that's okay.
Ethel, if you just eat fucking veggies, you'll be fine. That's what this movie's saying.
She did get another box of Nilla wafers.
Did she? I did not notice that.
No. She does.
Can I say I fucking loved Nilla wafers as a kid?
Nilla wafers are awesome.
They weren't vanilla wafers.
They're Nilla.
But Nilla wafers.
Nilla. Nabisco product. Anyway, anybody?
Nabisco, if you're listening.
Anybody?
Some money.
All right. So Grandma's got the key, which she had left in the little jar on top of the counter, and goes, "You're not getting in there because I'm the only one with a key." And she reaches in and pulls it out. So give away your hiding space, why don't you?
Well, she took it.
Well, she did take it because
we'll get there.
Well, right now it's now we're there.
But she says,
when you learn not to stuff yourself, we can use the icebox again.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then Ethel says,
"Do you think I'm going to let you starve me? I want to eat. Give me that tea. You and that tea were trying to starve me to death, but you're not going to starve."
This movie is so fucking racist and anti-Semitic.
It is.
Even for 1975, I was like, really?
Well,
wow.
You got to get it where you can. I guess I don't know. I don't know what I just said.
There's more racist stuff later on that I have in my notes, but
oh yeah, I just quit making notes about the racist stuff. So Grandma walks away, and Ethel grabs a knife, stabs Grandma through the back once.
Like you do.
Grandma's on the ground, still clutching the key in her hand.
She won't let go of that fucking key.
She will not, even in death. Ethel ain't fucking eating. All right. So Ethel stabs her hand at least 9 times, but there are no cut marks.
Just red paint.
Just red paint. I don't know. The last movie that used red paint was supposedly barbecue sauce and something.
Really?
But this looked exactly like red paint.
Yeah, it was red paint for sure.
That was red paint. So
I want that
key.
I want that key. And she gets the key, and she goes back, and she opens up the cabinet.
And she eats.
Yes. And she eats another box of Nilla wafers. Oh, this is horrible.
Then she drags Grandma
upstairs to the bedroom, to Grandma's bedroom, and locks her in with the window open.
But her arm's in the way. And she just kicks Grandma's arm out of the way to shut the door. She's like, "Fuck you, Grandma," and like kicks her arm until she can close the door.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what you do with your dead grandma.
Yep.
Oh.
I have in my notes, just kicked her arm and locked her in room. And then immediately calls the grocery store to order more food. I don't know if that was immediately or if it was the next day. The way it cut, it seemed like it was immediately. But when she woke up, it was the middle of the night. So I'm guessing it was the next day. She calls the grocery store to order food.
Yeah, and she was going to lift Grandma up and put her on the bed.
Yeah, no, she had a real fucking hard time.
But she couldn't do that. So that's why she left her on the floor.
With her arm in the way of the door and then kicked her arm and shut the door.
Right. So Grandma's dead body's locked in the bedroom. And then she calls the grocery the next morning, because I'm assuming, I don't know, because it's got to be the middle, like 3 or 4 a.m. when all this happens, killing Grandma and all this. So they're like, we can't deliver you groceries unless you pay off the bill. And if you want this week's order, it's going to be $80. And she's like, send it. I got the money. I will pay you off.
Which begs the question. Is it 4 o'clock in the morning and somebody's at the grocery store answering the phone
Yeah,
to
well,
take her grocery order?
no, it was later in the morning because
Okay,
she cleaned up all the blood in the dining room or wherever she killed grandma and all
sure.
that stuff.
Okay.
She didn't hit the hallway real good. We'll get to that in a minute. But
yeah, she calls the grocery store, orders some groceries, and she's like, yeah, but except instead of the 2 quarts of ice cream, make it 4.
yes, because it's Ethel. Oh, yeah. All right.
So now
So
the delivery guy shows up.
the delivery guy shows up. The kid who looks like he's 30, and the grocery guy's name. Man, I didn't
Doesn't
write this
matter.
down. But he's like, Mr. Blah, blah, blah says I can't bring the groceries in till you give me the $80. And she's like, fine, just put it down here. And he's like, I can't leave it here unless you give me the $80.
And she says, I don't have $80. I only have $4.50.
Yes. And then she grabs a bottle out of the groceries
Like a ketchup bottle or something. Yeah.
and smacks the delivery guy. You can tell it's a sign of the times. We said delivery driver. It's the delivery guy.
Yeah, no, he walked it. We saw him.
He walked it. They're right around the corner. So she breaks the bottle and stabs him with the broken bottle. And the box is on one side, the box is on the other, the box is on the shelf, the box is on the floor. Who the hell knows where? There's no continuity in this at all.
The important thing is she smashed him in the head with a bottle, which apparently killed him.
Stabbed him with the broken bottle. Yes. All right. So she magically cleans up. Well, she drags the body upstairs to grandma and magically cleans up. And now we get to see who Rosalie is.
Also, if you're counting at home, kids, body count 2.
Just
two bodies in the bedroom thus far.
That's right.
And Rosalie is at the
shows
door
up.
incessantly fucking ringing the goddamn doorbell.
Right. And Ethel
and looking pissed the whole time.
Right. And Ethel, while Rosalie's at the door, takes the guy upstairs, put him in the bedroom, comes back, cleans up, and then lets Rosalie in.
So when you put it that way, maybe it's not quite so annoying that Rosalie's ringing the doorbell so much. But
right
from the moment she started ringing the doorbell, she was annoying. And just ring, 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 and looking angry. And I feel the need to say at this point.
Okay.
Before we go on, I don't use this word often. I've never used it to a person to their face. And the amount of times I've actually used this word toward another person, I can count on one hand because it's super offensive. But I have in my notes written really big, Rosalie is a cunt. That's what's in my notes because of what happens next.
And what happens next, Jeff?
Jesus, it's about time. I don't believe it, but I think you've gotten even fatter. But they feed you in that nut house.
Yes. All right. Yep. And then she proceeds to tell Ethel that she'll be staying for a while, and she has many friends that might be coming over.
Yeah, and I'm not sure who she's talking about in my notes, but I do have in quotes, she's better off sleeping with that little brown man than being drunk all the time.
She's talking about their mother.
Okay.
But that was in the kitchen. That's after.
Okay, well, it's all my notes together. Yet another racist comment.
Yep.
And that's what I have about Rosalie's introduction.
So yeah,
she's not a likable person.
She did offer to pay rent and gave her cash.
Later.
All right. Man, this movie's 61 minutes long and you still can't keep it straight.
Yeah, there's a lot in an hour and 2 minutes.
Oh, wow. Then Ethel goes out to Oh, what? The smell of 2 dead bodies? Man, it feels like I'm jumping, but it's not. It's like,
I jumped to Rosalie coming home with another dude.
oh, because John shows up. Hey, appropriate.
I don't think it's John yet. She
Oh, no,
says, I've
for
been
regular.
dating this guy. I need you to do me a favor. If he calls for me, tell him I'm not here.
It's John. That's John.
Right. And she says, why? And she says, because he beat the shit out of me. That's
Right.
why.
Yeah.
And Ethel says, all right.
Hey, whatevs, man.
Okay. But
All
then
right.
another dude comes home with Rosalie that night.
That's the scrawny dude that's her regular client.
Right. And Rosalie's dressed in all fucking black leather. He's grabbing her boobs.
Mhm.
And Rosalie doesn't look bad in black leather, in my opinion. The rest of the movie, not so great.
Wow.
But when she's dolled up in black leather, I'm like, she should dress like this all the time. She doesn't look bad.
Okay, yeah, we'll give you that. And then the dwarf guy. I'm not saying dwarf guy. The short, obnoxious guy. The short, obnoxious John. Not John, but
not John,
John,
but quote John.
The John. Ethel gets up and comes to the door, and he's like, "Who's that? The madam?"
Wait, no, that's later.
No, that was first. No, that's the first introduction to.
No.
There's only 2 people that sleep with Rosalie in the movie.
No, there's this dude. The madam guy shows up later.
What?
This guy shows up.
This movie's only an hour long. She can't sleep with that many
This
people.
guy shows up. She wakes up the next morning. Rosalie wakes up the next morning and he's gone. And there's a Ham's beer on the dresser, which I was like, yes. Okay, I'm in. Then she acts like me and flicks the burnout cigarette butt off the top of it, blows it off, and takes a drink out of it. And then we have interaction between Rosalie and Ethel.
You smell what's upstairs? Grandma must have shit all over her bed before she left.
I didn't smell anything.
Well, you wouldn't. You're too busy cooking or eating.
Then I have in my notes, Rosalie, still a cunt.
Uh-huh.
Then we go to Ethel trying to air the apartment out.
Yeah.
And going out to dig a hole in the backyard.
Right. She put a room deodorizer in with 2 dead bodies in Grandma's room.
Right. So then she goes out back to dig a hole, and the neighbor pops his head over the fence.
That soil's no good, Ethel.
What?
I told your grandmother when she planted that flower bed, all she'd get would be weeds.
Well, I'm not planting flowers. I gotta bury a dead cat.
Well, why don't you put it out with the garbage?
Because it stinks too much.
That ground's too rocky. You won't be able to dig very deeply. Well, good luck.
Yeah,
And then he's
obviously
finally
it
like,
is.
all right, well, okay, whatever. And she keeps digging, and then she gives up. Then she puts the air freshener in the room, which, what the fuck is that air freshener? I have never seen, I wasn't born yet in 1975, to be fair, but I don't know what the fuck that air freshener was. It was like a weird bottle. You unscrewed the top. It was like like one of those air fresheners, the tube things.
Like an early Airwick air freshener thing.
Right.
But it had like a tampon.
Was that a thing? Yeah.
I don't know. It had like a tampon that soaked it. I don't remember this. Maybe it was in San Francisco. Maybe it was at like from the shop around the corner where some hippie was making some shit that smelled good. I don't know.
I don't know, but all I have is what the fuck was that air freshener? That's in my notes.
Yeah.
So then Rosalie brings another dude home.
John.
So you might be right. The first dude might have been is that a madam guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The madam guy.
I digress. Toby was right.
I always right.
Well, okay. Agree to disagree, but in this case.
Yes, so she brings actual John home, his name, John, not John Holmes, John home. This guy's sleazy, greasy, and everything in between. And the one
Wants
that
to
beat
be
Rosalie
a Hollywood star.
wants to be a Hollywood star. Left Rosalie for some woman with money that was going to take him to Hollywood and make him famous.
After beating the shit out of Rosalie.
Yeah.
And he
Which-
says, come on. Well, oh, first of all, she doesn't fight John very hard, keeping him out of the house.
No.
She tries to slam the door on him once. He pushes the door open, and then she just walks forward and lets him in.
Yes.
And then they talk some. And blah, 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 blah. That girl didn't mean anything to me.
You know you're the only one I love.
Bullshit.
Look, I want some good loving, not some old bag.
There's a knothole in the back fence. Try that.
Which is immediately followed with him laying on top of her in the bed.
Come on, Rosalie, you know that I love you.
If you love me so much, how come you beat the hell out of me?
And he goes.
Here we go.
And he
I
goes.
wrote this down as well.
Rosalie, I'm going to tell you the truth for once, okay? You need a good beating every once in a while. All women do. And you especially. Okay?
You need a good beating every once in a while. All women do.
Especially you.
Especially you. And then immediately they start making out.
Yeah, she's
After,
into
like,
it.
It's like, oh, yeah, that's right, we do. Uh-huh. Like, yeah, not women's lib on this one.
No.
Oh, damn prostitutes. Killing everything for real women everywhere.
Right?
And I'm not against sex work. Sorry, I didn't mean that.
Sex work is fine.
Sex
for the
work is
record.
fine, but Rosalie's really bad at it.
So on that note, perhaps we should take a quick break and hear from our sponsors,
That's
and then we'll get back into this.
back into John and
'Cause it's
Rosalie's
it's gonna
domestic
roll
violence scenario.
right. It's gonna roll pretty quickly from this point on, I think.
All right.
So let's hear from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Jesus.
John, I want you to meet my sister Ethel.
What the hell have you been eating?
John, she's my sister. Please don't be mean. It's her house.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Ethel. I'm glad to know you. Can you spare one of your sweet rolls?
We're back.
Are you sure?
Oh, sorry. Welcome back.
So Rosalie decided to have hot sex with John after he told her all women deserve to be beaten, especially her.
Hot sex.
I mean, not so hot, but for 1975, maybe.
All I got to say is Rosalie is like whiter than the white sheets. If you watched our promo trailer on our website, she's whiter than my beard.
Wow.
All right. We're just going to go with that.
That's a lot.
Keep on going.
All right, so we cut to a ringing of the doorbell. There's a visitor for Ethel's mom. He's like, I want to talk to your mom. I had no idea who this was.
Grandma.
Yeah, grandma. And then it dawned on me, like, oh shit, it's the doctor.
It's hard to remember the doctor with all the crap that's happened in the last 30 minutes.
Right. So a lot happens in this movie in an hour and 2 minutes. So doctor just forces his way in. He's like, I want to talk to your grandma.
You missed 4 shock treatment therapies.
Yeah. And at some point he had called and she's like, my grandma doesn't want to talk to you, and hung up on him. So now he shows up at the house.
Yep.
And just muscles his way in and heads upstairs. And Ethel follows him up and kills him.
In the hallway, right outside of Rosalie and John's room.
Right, with a meat cleaver, right?
With the meat. No.
No. She beats him to death with some kind of statue.
Well, it's like an umbrella holder or something. Because it's like a giant cast iron thing.
I'm not sure what the hell it was, but she beats him to death with it.
Yeah, I think it was like a cane holder, but it's cast iron.
Yeah, something cast iron. Rosalie is in bed with John.
Well, no, wait. Ethel loses her breath walking up the stairs with a tray of food. But man, when it comes to killing somebody,
she's all good.
She got the lungs of an
She's
athlete.
got it. She's ready. And she beats the fuck out of Dr. Gerard. And Rosalie's in bed with John. It's like, what's that noise? And she hears it, but she's like, nah. And then Ethel hides him in the bedroom with the other bodies, which body count 3, if you're counting. 3 in the room.
3 in the room now. Yes.
So now we cut to dinner time, I guess.
Snack time.
Yeah, I don't know. Ethel's got a big tray of food, and John and Rosalie are
sweet
sitting around.
rolls. She has a tray of cinnamon rolls. Or something.
So John and Rosalie are there, and John's like, Jesus.
Yeah, he's flat out amazed at Ethel's size.
And Rosalie's like, she's my sister. Come on. And I'm like, oh, now Rosalie's not going to be a fucking cunt? Like, we're going to have a character arc now? But she stands up for her sister, and she's like, it's my sister. Come on. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm really glad to know you. In a weird, creepy kind of way. And he's like, can I have one of your cinnamon rolls? And she offers him one. He's like, are you sure? Because he's that much of a fucking dick.
Yeah, then he did. Then he took one. And he's going to die.
Right.
No matter what happens.
And I have in my notes, Rosalie decides not to be a bitch. That's what I have in my notes.
Well, that's pretty much what she did, finally.
Yep. So then we cut to Rosalie and John in the bedroom, and John's putting on makeup.
Yeah. All right. Anybody who's ever done any theater or anything, you pick a foundation for the stage that is the same color as your skin. So this guy's pretty tan in the face, and he's got this, I don't know, it'd be a light foundation that he's putting on. And he's still talking about the woman that he left Rosalie for, but she's going to still make him a star. And she told him the secret that all the stars wear makeup to make them look tan, but all he was doing was making himself look pasty white.
And he's like, that's how they look good all the time.
Yeah. I'm done. I'm over. So Rosalie's like laughing at him. And then we have the slow motion backhand slap.
Pulled like 3 times. It's like a slap, and then a slow motion version of it, and another slow motion version.
What are you laughing at? God damn it, stop laughing.
I'm sorry. I've seen a lot of things, but never a man putting on makeup.
Look, dummy, that old chick I went off with works in a Hollywood studio. And she told me all those big stars wear makeup. That's why they look so good. Like they've got a suntan. You stupid whore.
Oh, and you can tell they said, just do it really slow and hit her. Because there is no slow motion. It's just do it like we're in slow motion. And
right.
they repeat it like 3 times. And somewhere in the movie, me and Jeff brought this up. We didn't bring this up earlier, but talking together, the sound unsynced from everything, like halfway through the movie.
I think it's very shortly after this. I was like, wait, what the fuck's happening?
No, it was this, because the hand
it?
hits the face, she screams, and then you hear the slap and then the scream.
Okay.
And it wasn't even a slap sound. It was like somebody hitting a pillow.
Yeah, it was like,
boom. It was like, come on. Yeah, all right. So now we got this.
Yeah, so we cut immediately from him slapping her to them hanging on the couch having a great time.
Doing a little bit of coke, watching
Not quite yet, but yeah, we're getting there. Ethel's like sitting across from him eating some ice cream. Just watching him.
She's eating one of those extra quarts of ice cream she got earlier.
Right.
Well, no, she dumped the whole thing in a cake pan.
Yes.
A baking, like
yes.
a 9x11 pan, 9x11 baking cake pan.
Which seems like a lot of work.
A lot of work to eat that ice cream.
But yeah, she's sitting there just munching away. And John and Rosalie start making out, and he's like feeling her up and slipping his hand inside her shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, this is awkward. I'm just watching it and I feel awkward. This is weird. This is the point where, like, if you and Dawn were at my house doing this, I'd be like, all right, you guys need to go home.
Yeah, that's our plan Saturday night. We're going to Jeff's.
And I'll be like, you need to leave.
All right.
So then John whips out the Coke, does a little hit, and gives Rosalie some. And Ethel's like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, and Rosalie's like, oh, it's medicine. We both have sinuses.
Sinuses.
Because nobody else has a sinus.
Nobody has sinuses. That is correct. So yeah, and then she just goes back, and then let's see, that's when somebody knocks at the door. And,
yeah. And Rosalie says, well, if that's what I think it is, I don't have to go to work tonight. And John says, oh, do you have a regular trick?
Mm-hmm. And that's where Jeff caught on that she was a prostitute.
Yes! I thought Rosalie was just a slut.
I foreshadowed that from the friggin' second scene of the movie, man.
I just thought Rosalie likes to bang a lot of dudes because she obviously feels bad about herself. But now I'm like, oh, fuck. She's a legit prostitute. I just came to the realization.
So, yeah. And
that happens.
That happens. And then somebody...
Well, but it doesn't happen because it's not a John. It's a detective.
It's Sergeant Detective or Detective Sergeant McDonough.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Yeah.
So Rosalie's like, oh, you should talk to my sister, and just fucking leaves.
Well, they went back into the other room.
Yep.
They hang out with the cocaine to make sure that, I guess, get rid of the evidence in case the police come in.
And this is where I have the note, sound sync off, or is it just my streaming? Question mark.
Really? Because mine went off way before this.
So Ethel talks to the detective.
And he's looking for the grocery boy.
Right.
Who finally gets a name. Glenn Dickey.
Glenn Dickey. Yep.
Glenn Dickey.
Poor old Glenn Dickey. Who looked like Chachi.
Yep. At 40.
Good evening. I'm with the police department, missing persons division. My name is McDonough.
Maybe I better get my sister. This isn't my house. I'm just visiting. Ethel? 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 This is my sister. She's the one that lives here.
Hello? I'm Detective Sergeant McDonough. I'm
I'm investigating the disappearance of Glenn Dickey, the kid who works for Caruso's Market.
Well, I don't know anything about that.
Caruso says he never came back to the store after making a delivery to your house 3 days ago.
All I know is he brought me the food and I paid him.
How much is that?
What?
How much did you pay him?
$80, I think it was.
Did the boy seem upset or act strangely?
No,
Which way did he go when he left?
I didn't see.
Well, he'll probably show up in a day or so. I expect he's having a fling with your $80 in Tijuana.
Yeah, I guess so.
In any case, thanks for your time. Good night.
Good night, Detective Sergeant.
Good night.
He's just a young kid. He ran off with the $80. What?
Yeah. So he was like, well, how much was the bill? And she was, how much did you give him? She's like, $80. And he was like, oh, well, I'll bet he's probably in Tijuana spending that $80. Done deal. And she was like, all right, I'm going to go watch Gunsmoke.
Well, yeah, because John, after the detective leaves, John's trying to get Rosalie out on the streets to make some money. And she goes, I need a jacket. It's cold out. And he goes,
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
need a jacket to cover up that fine rump of yours.
Right.
What?
And then
And-
Ethel's like, I'm going to go watch Gunsmoke.
I'm going to go watch Gunsmoke.
I'm gonna watch Gunsmoke.
Finish my fucking ice cream.
Which, good call, Ethel. I'm with you. Ethel is maybe the only redeeming character in this movie other than the doctor that she killed and her grandma. Otherwise, Ethel, I'm on Ethel's side. Fuck all these other people.
Oh, yeah. They all, yeah, pretty much.
They all had it coming.
I don't think the grocery boy had it coming.
No, the grocery boy. He was collateral damage.
So everybody but the doctor, the first 3 kills, yeah, really didn't have it. Well, Grandma pissed her off.
That's true, because she wouldn't give up that
Took
fucking
the food
key.
away.
And she
Yeah,
would
just
not
sit
give up that
here.
fucking key. She was like, I want that key. I
Even-
want that key.
Even in death, she was not going to give up that key. All right.
Right. So at this point, I have in my notes, no one wonders where Granny is.
Oh, she'll be back in a couple
She's
days.
just said she's gone. And nobody's like been like, where'd she go? When's she coming back?
Neighbor didn't ask.
No. Nobody gave a fuck
Well, the neighbor
about
asked.
Granny.
The neighbor asked, and she said a couple days.
Well, that's here in a little bit. That's here shortly.
Yeah.
Up till this
All
point,
right. Yeah.
nobody gave a fuck about Granny. Like, nobody asked where she's at, where she went. Even Rosalie didn't ask where she went. Ethel's just like, she's not here. And she's like,
Huh?
she must have shit her bed before she left. Like, there's no question. Like, where'd she go? When's she coming back? Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah. Nobody cares. Mrs.
But-
Janowski has no friends.
Right. So apparently next morning, they wake up. And Sean's like, what's that smell? And she's
Yeah, they
like,
woke.
I don't know.
Yeah, they woke up like in the middle of the night.
Right.
Smells like something dead. God almighty, there's something dead in there, all right. It's locked.
I'll go get Ethel. She must have a key. Ethel!
What is it, Rosalie?
We've got to do something about that stink in Grandma's room. It's so strong we can't sleep.
I don't smell anything.
Jesus, come over here then.
Have you got a key? It's locked.
Grandma's got the key.
There must be a dead animal in there, a cat or something. I'm gonna have to break it in.
Don't do that.
Oh, we can't live here with a stink.
Grandma will probably be back tomorrow. And we can go in without wrecking her door.
Well, if she isn't, I'm gonna break it in.
Yep. This is where all hell breaks loose, man.
Right.
Everybody goes back to bed. Just, still smells like death, but
And then Ethel comes into the room with the meat cleaver and kills John.
Kills a couple whacks of John.
Right. And Rosalie just stares like a deer in headlights for a while.
I'm gonna have to kill you both.
No, Ethel.
You shouldn't have tried to go into Grandma's room, Rosalie.
No, Ethel, no. Not me, Ethel. Not me. Oh, don't hurt me. Please, Ethel. Please don't hurt me, Ethel.
And then Ethel kills Rosalie.
As-
And John's
as-
like, fuck all of this.
As John's trying dead crawl out of the room.
Right, because he's apparently still alive after being meat cleaver to the head. He's like,
multiple times.
Fuck all of this. And he's trying to crawl out of the room. And Ethel, like, makes it past him and stands at the wall waiting for him until his head is like right between her feet and just laughs at him.
Yes.
And then cleavers the rest of the way to death.
That's correct.
And then back to the bedroom. Ethel starts talking to them.
Right. And she's okay. Well, first, all right. She walks her TV tray from the kitchen up, and I thought she went to like her room. No.
Right.
She's
Yeah, this
sitting
is
there
where
talking to somebody, eating the biggest friggin' baked potato in the world.
Right.
Like,
Shit gets confusing here.
Yeah. She can't get Grandma under the bed, but she can get John and Rosalie into their bed.
Right.
So she's talking to somebody. You don't know who it is.
And she's
And
eating
then
baked potatoes.
Eating baked potato and steak. And then they turn the camera and it's dead Rosalie and dead John.
And she's just talking to him.
Talking to him. Yep.
We're gonna have to do something about Grandma tomorrow. Spray a room or something. Aren't you glad I didn't put you in there with all that stink and everything? I'm gonna leave you all in here just like before. I won't disturb you. I know you want to be alone. Sometimes I could hear you. I know what you were doing with John, Rosalie.
And then shit gets weird and psychedelic.
Well, because she goes from eating baked potato to her lying in bed next to dead John.
Yeah, she's like, well, I'll leave you guys alone because I know you want alone time.
Right.
And then she's like laying in bed laughing. And then we see her walking down the stairs looking like divine.
Well, no, I mean, she's laying in bed laughing, and it's next to dead John.
Right.
And we're like, where's Rosalie's body? Did she just like lay on top of Rosalie's dead body?
Yeah, Rosalie's like nowhere to be found.
Yeah, she just disappears. I've read in a couple places that people believe that she might have slept with John's dead body.
Right. This begs the question: where the fuck is Rosalie? Did Ethel bang John's dead body? I don't know what the fuck's happening. There's weird photo negative shots of her hacking away at mannequins.
Mannequins, yeah.
There's funeral. There's like a cemetery. She's walking down the stairs dressed like divine.
Running through the park.
Shit gets really fucking weird and psychedelic. And I'm like, I've had a few drinks, but I don't know what the fuck's happening.
No, nobody knew what was going on. It was like, was it all a dream? Was only part of it a dream? Was it all real? Who knows?
So all that shit happens.
All right.
And then
we're on the next day.
Then there's more incessant ringing at the doorbell.
And this is the next day.
And I'm like, why so much? Why can nobody just fucking ring the doorbell and wait 10 seconds to see if somebody answers? I'd kill them too.
Hey, man, when you got to get laid, you got to get laid. He was waiting for Rosalie.
Right. So there's a dude looking for Rosalie, and he just fucking like bounds through the door. Like he's like, I gotta see Rosalie. Like I gotta get laid now.
I want to see Rosalie.
And he bounds through the door, past Ethel, up the stairs, and Ethel follows him and kills him. She strangles him for
Strangles
a very
him.
long time.
And he really liked it. That's
Which adds to the pseudo-sexual, like, did she bang John's dead body? Is she getting off on this dude? I don't really know.
yeah, it's weird. I'm not gonna go there with this.
But then she drags him in the bedroom.
Okay.
And now, if you're counting, there are 6 dead bodies in the bedroom.
4 and 2. We got 2 bedrooms. She left John
Perhaps.
and Rosalie in the other bedroom.
I think she moved them over at some point because I think they're all in the same room now.
Hey,
I
yeah.
wrote 6 dead bodies in the room.
Okay. All right. So we've got that.
And
so
now we
Rose-
get the spraying air freshener.
Yeah. She's spraying air freshener and she's like, it's not working.
Not doing much good, Granny.
She goes, it's not working, Grandma. Where'd you get this shit? So she like takes it and sprays it in Grandma's face. Like it's gonna make the smell go away better.
Like right in her face. It's in the trailer. She's like spraying Lysol on her grandma's face.
It looked like a can of Pledge, and that is not air freshener.
No damn dog.
So this is where she gets the bright idea, I guess, because next thing you know, she's downstairs looking for something, a knife, and she comes back. She has a meat cleaver.
So this is where we turn into like a Three's Company episode.
Well, the meat
Where
cleaver.
Jack had to lie to a date because he had another date. And then he has to lie to Chrissy and Janet about his date. And then Mr. Roper shows up and he has to lie to Mr. Roper. This is where we get this scenario where like every single thing has to be covered up.
So she goes downstairs to get a meat cleaver, and there is Detective Sergeant McDonough or whatever his name is, sitting in the living room.
Just sitting there, just hanging
And
out.
he's like, hey, Ethel, did I interrupt something? And she's
Front
got the
door was
meat cleaver.
Right, right. He's like, the front door is open.
You should lock the door. And he's like, and she's like, got the meat cleaver? And she's like, no, I was just going to go chop some wood for the fireplace. It's like, where? You're in downtown San Francisco. Where are
And
you going to go chop wood?
And what fireplace? And are you chopping wood with a meat cleaver?
But it was logical
I
because
guess.
the detective bought it.
It's the most logical thing she says in this whole scene.
Oh, yeah. And then all of a sudden, she tells a whopping lie about there was somebody that saw her give the $80 to the grocery delivery boy and then followed him.
Right. She was like, oh, yeah. Because the detective is like, well, there's been some robberies in this neighborhood. And she's like, oh, yeah. Like there was somebody watching. Yeah, totally. I gave him the money. And then somebody was watching him. He's like, well, describe him. She's like, he was colored.
Yeah. Yeah, she did say that.
And he followed him. He's like, which way? And she's like, to the right. And he's like, back toward the store. And she's like, yeah, totally.
Exactly. That is correct, Alex. What? Oh, my God.
The worst policing. He just fed her all of the answers. And he's like, well, I'd like you to come to the station and see if you can identify the guy that saw it. She's like, yeah, I told you I didn't see him that well.
Well,
And he's like, okay.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all that. He leaves.
Yeah, he's like, all right, well, this is this for now.
So
Foreshadowing.
she goes upstairs to
Chop up grandma.
chop up everybody's bodies.
Well, she only chopped up grandma.
I know.
Because then she says she has her in a bag. It's dragging her out of the room and down the steps. Grandma, You smell the worst, so you're the first. And then starts laughing to herself.
Oh, yeah.
So here we get into the comedic part.
It's like a Three Stooges episode here.
It really is at this point, yeah. So
She
she's like dragging her down the concrete steps.
What are those houses called?
I don't know.
And so she got this really steep old staircase inside the house, and then from the front door down to the street. And what's even funnier is they have a garage. So, like, why didn't she back the car into the garage and shut the fucking door?
Right.
So
Ethel's not a career criminal.
Not a career
Okay.
criminal. So she gets the
She just wants to eat.
yeah
She's not a career criminal. She just wants to eat her food.
food. She just wants her food. Yes. So she gets the body into the trunk.
But
Goes out.
the neighbor talks to her while she's doing it.
Hi, Ethel.
Hello.
When's your grandmother coming back?
Soon. Next week, I guess.
Yeah. So she goes out on a little cruise down the highway to the ocean to a lookout point, and trying to get Grandma out of the trunk.
And
in
this
the
is
bag.
the best scene in the movie, maybe. It should have had the music from Don't Go in the Woods play during this scene.
From the wheelchair guy.
Wow, 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 wow.
Yeah.
Because she opens the trunk and gets ready to get Granny's body out, and then she hears the car coming, and she's and shuts the trunk.
Right.
Car passes, opens the trunk back up, gets Granny out, gets her halfway across from the car to the cliff, and then she hears another car coming, and she's like, oh crap. So she drags it back, throws it back in the trunk again. It's like, shit. And a family pulls up and wants to take pictures.
Yep. So the trunk doesn't close.
Correct. And also, instead of just going, I mean, I don't live in California, but assuming that you're already at this spot where there's a drop off for a cliff, there's probably another one somewhere nearby. But instead of stopping at that, she just goes home with the trunk not latched.
Pulls up on the curb.
Yeah.
Drags the body out, leaves the trunk open, takes the body all the way up the stairs. Oh, then this nosy neighbor.
Yep.
Like, what the hell's going on? Goes over and looks in the trunk.
Screams. There's a hand.
There's Grandma's hand.
Damn it, Grandma.
Damn it, Grandma.
You fucked everything up, Grandma.
So, yep. And obviously calls the police.
So next shot, detectives at the house. Coming up the steps.
Mm-hmm. This
Opens
is the
the door
grand
to the
finale,
bedroom.
people.
Yep, opens the door to the bedroom. And what does he see?
Ethel's eating Grandma's arm.
Yeah, she is. She's just chewing on Grandma's arm.
And it goes to black, and it's over. Boom.
Yeah.
That's it. We're out. Thank you. Good night.
That's the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Way better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, this movie's better than it has any right to be. So, should we take another quick break for our sponsors before we give our final thoughts on this movie and wrap everything up?
Yes.
Hey, Toby.
What?
What are you wearing?
Ah, you fucking pervert.
No, seriously, what are you wearing? Because I got this new shirt. It's got Jason with his hockey mask on it. It's all 80s looking, and it says TGIF. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, no, I've got my Atomic Cotton Near Dark shirt on.
Sweet. You got a new shirt from Atomic Cotton, too?
Yeah. Couldn't decide between the Near Dark or the Little Miss Risk one.
Yeah, they got lots of choices.
Oh, they do.
They even have masks.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna get the practice safe sex mask.
I'm thinking about the don't be a dick mask.
Ah, man, I'm thinking the be kind or fuck off mask.
That one's cool too. So hey, you. Yeah, you. Out there on the information superhighway. Head over to atomiccotton.com and get some new shit for you. This sweetens the deal a little bit. Use promo code WTH30. Tell them we sent you and get 30% off. That way you can afford to get both t-shirts and a mask. Atomiccotton.com makes badass clothes for badass people. Can't get this shit at Hot Topic? Just go over to atomiccotton.com and get your new wardrobe today. Just use promo code WTH30 at checkout to receive 30% off your entire cart.
That's right. You'll be one of the cool people.
Like us. Atomiccotton.com. Check them out.
My God.
All right, we're back to give our final thoughts on Criminally Insane, aka Crazy Fat Ethel.
Yes.
This movie has a 5.7 rating on IMDb and is listed as a drama.
But that's like gold on IMDb.
Right. Again, it's much better than it has any right to be, but at the same time, it still makes me feel like I need to take a shower after watching it. It feels like a late 70s made-for-TV movie that never should have been a made-for-TV movie.
Right.
Because made-for-TV movies, maybe I'm the only one, but old made-for-TV movies kind of freak me out.
Right.
I hope I'm not the only one in
man.
this camp, but that's kind of what this feels like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Almost. It could have been yeah. It would
It's
have
an
been one of
after
those.
school. It's an
You're
after school
not
special
so-
about it's
an
after
overweight girl that gets bullied and it's wrong, and
right.
then
It's
but the redeeming qualities is that everybody ends up dead that picked on her.
It's like an R-rated after-school special about body image.
Right. Yes, the way it should be. Yeah, it's way better than you thought.
Yeah.
Way better than I thought it was going to be. Way shorter than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It's worth the time to check it out. And as of course, since we do this podcast, it's I'm trying to, like, last night it was like overthinking. I'm like, man, you could talk about this and you could talk about that, and don't be an English lit major and try to watch this movie. Just, you got to shut that off and just enjoy the ride.
Well, we haven't talked for 90 minutes this time, so if you have something, let it loose.
I don't. I mean,
the only thing I had was like sexual overtones of
everything.
Was Ethel getting off on these guys?
Killing people. Yeah. I don't think it was that. I think she was getting off on the food.
Right. No, they went to the cannibalism instead.
And I think the reason that she put John and Rosalie back in bed together and was sitting there eating was her sexual release, because she did say something about hearing them the night before having sex. So maybe it was just a food coma dream.
But it's still a fetish thing.
Yeah. But, oh well. Everybody's got their quirks until it comes to eating your grandma. I mean.
Yeah, eating grandma might take it too far.
Yeah.
So this is not an awful movie. Like, as far as there's some weird cuts and some weird things, but I think that's more a product of the transfer of the film than the actual filmmaking.
Okay. Yeah.
The cinematography is not terrible, and I feel like the odd choices, like the close up on Ethel's mouth where you can actually see like the fillings in her teeth. I feel
Yeah.
like those were chosen to make the audience uncomfortable. I kind of feel like the director knew, like, if I do this, it's going to be uncomfortable. I don't feel like it was unintentional.
Well, yeah. And now the lead actress, Priscilla Alden, um, she died from complications of diabetes
In 2007, at
in
68 years
2000.
old.
Yeah, she lived a long life and everything, but that is a thing with a lot of people with diabetes have really bad teeth.
Okay.
And in the 70s, there were no tooth colored fillings.
Right. And no fluoride in the water.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
there was but it was so it was it's anything like that. That didn't bother me at all. Other than
Well, I just thought of it as a shot, as a
yeah,
filmmaker. I was like, that's a real fucking close up. But I feel like it was intentional, like this claustrophobic kind of shot is gonna feel
right.
off kilter and make the audience feel uncomfortable. I feel
Okay.
like the shots were very well planned. The cinematography is not terrible. The
It,
editing's maybe slightly subpar.
and considering they shot in that old house, it
Right.
was very narrow stairway and all that stuff. It was pretty. That was pretty good.
Yeah, now aside from the shots during the kills that were shot to obviously cover up not having real special effects, aside
Right.
from that, I feel like the cinematography was not bad. He was an inept director. Like, I feel like
Well,
he knew what he was doing.
he knew what he
Even
was doing.
though,
The movie he did before that.
and before that, and before that, and before that. But to go back to Priscilla Alden,
Uh-huh.
she did this film and Criminally Insane 2.
Yeah.
She also was in Death Nurse 1 and 2, which
Mm-hmm.
is directed by the same director.
Right.
But she had bit parts in the movie Dying Young with
Okay.
help me out, dude from Singles. Oh, and Julia Roberts. Because Julia Roberts was in Dying Young, right? I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Julia
Oh
Roberts
my gosh.
and
He was that
Campbell Scott, right?
yes.
Yeah.
you
Okay.
are correct. Yes.
And 9 Months
And
with Hugh
hey, we'll just
Grant.
go to something else. Vincent D'Onofrio.
Okay. And 9 Months with Hugh Grant.
Mm-hmm.
She was an episode of Nash Bridges. Like, she did some legit work,
Right. Yeah, she did.
but she was also bit parts in the director's movies Please Please Me and Sodom and Gomorrah: The Last 7 Days, which were clearly pornography. So the director directed a lot of pornography.
Yes.
Right,
All
so
right.
Nick Millard has 59 directing credits,
Yeah.
mostly pornography. And in 1968, made 10 movies. 10 movies in 1 year. He averaged like 5 movies a year. 98% pornography.
Like great movies like How I Got My Mink. The San Francisco Sex Collector. I'm just reading the
Yeah. No, read
name
the
on the
titles.
cover. How I Got My Mink. I can't see. Oh, this is just like How I Got My Mink was in a 3-film set called San Francisco Sex Collection.
Right.
It's like, wow. All right. So, yeah.
Now I have to say, being a clearly porn director, this is a much better movie than a movie called Trick or Treats by a director named Gary Carver, who worked with Orson Welles and also directed porn movies.
All right. Yeah, I am done with this. Everybody needs to go watch this.
Yeah.
I mean, what the
no.
hell? It's on Prime. It's on Prime. Do it.
Yeah, Criminally Insane, aka Crazy Fat Ethel. Overlook the audio dub being off the last half of the movie. It's not an awful movie for what it is.
Okay. Yes. All right. Hey, Jeff, we're gonna spin the wheel.
Is it time?
It is time.
Yeah,
They're done.
okay.
They're
It's
done
time.
listening to us.
It's time to spin the wheel of what the fuck and see what we're gonna watch next week and talk to you about. Let's do it. It's going and going and go. Oh, it dropped. What is it? What are we watching next week?
What are we watching next week?
Next week we are watching an 80s classic. I remember it from my childhood. Slumber Party Massacre 2.
2.
Not 1, not 3. I don't think I've ever seen 3. But
Definitely not 3.
Slumber Party Massacre 2. And I believe, quote me if I'm wrong, but I believe the tagline for this was "The bit is back."
All right.
So we have that in store for next week. That's going to be a fun conversation.
Oh, yes. It will be fun. All right. Yeah, we're going to get out of here, but we want you to take a look at our website, WTH. Did we just watch.com?
WTH did we watch?
Did we watch.com? Damn. You can leave that mistake in. And check out our sponsor, Atomic Cotton, at atomiccotton.com. They're giving us a pretty good deal for our listeners. So they make really good stuff, and you should check them out.
Yeah, everybody needs t-shirts. We will talk to you next week.
Later.